Okay, very first one I'm showing is the Hypericums. We got 3 varieties up in here. The great thing about Hypericums, they mostly show the selling point for this is actually the berries you have, and they usually start blooming, showing these berries usually between the months between June throughout the month of October. We did have these mostly in landscape grade, but we were able to put some on to current because they are starting to show some of these berries. This is really the key to the success of these varieties. So this is something you probably want to focus on for your customers. If you scroll down, see an example of the other 2 varieties we have on. Some of the other ones are still good, but we still just got them in landscape grade. But as more become more available, showing these good berries, we will be moving more of these to current for you. Just keep in mind too, because we're starting to cool off in the season, you want to make sure you keep these watered because of the berries. But like I said, we did put on 3 good varieties for you. And so if you need some, these are the ones you want to focus on. Next picture, please. Now, the next 2 pictures are going to be the Ligustrum. The great thing about the Ligustrum is the varieties that they're very, very low maintenance. Great varieties you want to use for landscapers. Love them because, in fact, they use them for developments, hospitals, apartment complexes. They're very low maintenance. You can still fill up your yard with these. And it's the foliage that makes these things a success. You can also use them for natural borders. You go ahead to the next picture, to the Ibolium. Go ahead to the next picture, please. And the great thing, the Iboliums is also used for great a border. You don't have to give many of these to fill up a spot quickly because as you see, that is a 2-gallon. And as you can see, it's just almost between 34 inches. So you're getting a really good value on that pot size. They do have flowers, but like I said, the selling point for these varieties is that they're very, very low maintenance, great for filling up your landscape and creating borders, but for natural, beautiful looks. Next picture, please. All right, the next 2 varieties, or next 2 pictures, if you can scroll down, you'll see that the Sympacarpus, we have the Avalanche, and we have this other variety that is the Sweet. They are just starting to, they're in flower right now, and the bees are pollinating them. And the selling point for these Sympacarpus is the berries. The Sweet, as you can see, has this beautiful pink berries on them, and the Avalanche have this stunning pure white, almost like a pearl, like berries on them. You want to get these in your yard right now that way, because next year when these things are established, they will be blooming with berries and everything like that. But like I said, right now it's actually a good time to be selling these because it's got some really nice foliage and it hasn't quite gotten the berries yet. So you want to try to get that in your landscape or in your yards just before it starts showing the berries so you can really appreciate this variety. Next picture, please. Now, this next 2 pictures is going to be the Sambucus. The very first one I'm showing right now is the Lemon Lacy. Again, it's almost like a neon yellow. It does have berries, but the sell point for this variety is because it gives you a natural bright color that can lighten up your landscape for dark areas. We still have 1,204 of these available. We're not going to be doing more trims on this for this year. Oh, we are? We're going to do one more? Yeah, we are not going to be doing any more trims for this variety. You can see that for a lot of varieties, we're getting down to the end of the trim for certain varieties, but this is the one we're not going to be doing any more trims for them. So right now, it's nice, compact, it's making some really good size. Go ahead to the next picture, please. The other one is the Sambucus Lace Up. The great thing about this, it is a stunning dark, where Lemon Lacy is very brilliant, almost neon, where the Sambucus Lace Up is more dark. As you can see, you add a very good contrast to your landscape where you got these bright varieties. You can just add something that stands out from the others. Great thing about the lace up is that this variety does not weep. It's got some very good stems to it. It will stand sturdy, and it got some really beautiful pink flowers you'll have that's growing up here on the top, mostly for these lace up. But as you can see, it's making some really good size, nice clean foliage. It's not showing any kind of burns or nothing like that. That's great about that. But so you got 2 varieties, Lemon Lacy for brightness and lace up for the darkness. So that's something to keep in mind also too. Next picture, please. All right, now we're going to go into the hibiscus. The very next couple of pictures is the little series. You can go ahead and stroll down. You got the Kims. The little Kims. Go ahead. and then you have the reds. As you can see, all three varieties are just loaded with flowers. I know we had to start slow start off at the early spring when it came to hibiscus, but this is the reason why Jeff usually wants to hold up on these. Hibiscus is a variety, is mostly selling point for this variety. It's mostly during the summer. As you can see, they are loaded with buds and flower. So if you got some customers who are still picky and they want something for flowers, you just keep these three varieties in mind. Like I said, now these are considered more of your dwarf when it comes to the syringas. Let's go ahead. I'm sorry, syringa. Jeff, not syringa, hibiscus. I'm sorry, I had to correct Jeff. And so these are dwarf. You have the other hibiscus. These four are more taller. Most of these are I'm going to the average size of 18 to 24, almost 36. The only variety that's not really showing flowers and now is the purple pillars. But as you can see that picture in the middle, it is loaded with buds and it's just ready to show, crack some color to show these flowers. But like I said, then we got two more over here. You have the lavender chiffon and the white chiffon. As you can see, these varieties are just loaded with buds and flowers. So like I said, but these will get a little bit more bigger than the little stems, between the average sizes of 18 to 24 inches in size. But like I said, they're ready to go. And like I said, now you can see that hard work that the growers put through when it comes to this. Why we want to wait till summer to really put these in current, because it pays off in the long run, because we just give you some really good quality flowers and some plants with a really good size. Next picture, please.
Lee, can you jump to the Buddleia? We're gonna go back to echinacea. Thanks.
All right, so I put in four different varieties of 2-gallon Buddleia pugsters. We have the pinker, which is taking over for the pink. We do still have pink left in 2 gallons. So if you're looking for pink 2 gallons, we have about 400 of those left. And then we have the blue and the periwinkle, which are pretty common varieties. Working around to the 3 gallons also. I know I put some more 3 gallons in, but I wanted to highlight the 2 gallons at a better price point. Some of them are just a little bit smaller coming out of a new canning, but lots of these plants available for you, and they're starting to show color. So now is the perfect time to get these on loads if you need to, before they start to bloom out for the fall. And next picture, please.
No, keep going. We'll do the echinacea last.
Oh, okay.
Thanks.
This is one of the first plants that caught my eye when I started last year, just because of the purple variegation around the outside of these broad green leaves. They are pretty small plants, more native to North America, West Virginia area. They get cute little purple flowers on them that sort of look like little snapdragons. They call them skull caps. But this is a great little plant if you're looking for something with color for a border, or it's just something to add to your garden that's a little bit more unusual. We have a little over 700 available. They look exactly like that first picture right now. They're fantastic. And if you put them in your gardens now, I know we keep talking about fall, get them in your gardens. Well, it's, I don't want to say cool, because it's going to go back up before we get back into our actual cool temperatures, but they're going to come back much stronger next year as long as we get them in the gardens within the next few months. And the Rudbeckia Gold Rush, these are filling out the pots, lots of color on those. These are great to get out to your customers, just because of that bright yellow. Sort of resembles a sunflower, and I'm obsessed with sunflowers right now. So as soon as I drive by these, I'm immediately sucked into this house. And we have almost 2,000 available. And the last one before we circle back, we have 3 varieties of grasses that we put in here: the Golden Sunset, the Big Blue Stem, and the Prairie Blues, which I put a picture up at the top so that you can see what they turn into once they do flush and flower. I think we were driving through Strongsville, and my mom was immediately caught by the colors of grasses. She had no idea that grass could be different colors. So all of those flowers at the top there are a huge selling point, and these are all native plants. So we don't just need flowers on those stands for the native plants, American Beauties, but we can also get some color in the grasses. And then we can circle back to echinacea. And I have 10 varieties on here, but we're going to talk a little bit more about what landscape ready means versus having these plants in current, because they all look fantastic from up top. Some of them even look fantastic from the sides. However, the echinacea growth habit, they're going to get a little bit of browning around the bottom just because of that moisture, but also because they're so dense. they are going to, they're not getting the sun to the bottom like a shrub might if they're a little bit more loose. So these plants in the pictures, while they all look fantastic, if you pick them up in, not all of them are going to be a landscape grade, but if you pick them up, they will have some browning around the bottom. Those plants will be in landscape. Don't discount landscape as just being ready to be put in the ground for like a landscape project. Some of these plants your customers may still take just because of the condition that they're in. Landscape just means that they may have some leaf issue. They may have some cosmetic issues. They may be way too big or they might be trimmed back. Anything you want to add to that?
And just that as the perennials are, as we're moving into the, later time, a lot of the perennials were done trimming. So this is gonna happen with a bunch of perennials. So we're gonna put more and more of them into landscape grade. And again, don't discount them because, I mean, there's, they're still beautiful plants, as you can see. They just not maybe perfect retail ready for a garden center. So I know we were looking at some phlox with this and a couple other varieties that we're gonna have to kind of start moving over to LG more than just current.
And this is normal seasonal wear. These plants are just over summer, as am I. I'm tired of the heat and they're just ready to go. So we can definitely still sell some of these as they are. Some of them are going to be moving into landscape grade, and I'm going to do a little bit more in-depth picking at these a little bit later this morning.
So we just wanted to share that info.
So a couple comments on the echinacea. Echinacea is a prairie plant. So if you're not familiar with prairies, usually they're pretty dry in the summer. These plants were all grown earlier on. They have all been trimmed through at least once, if not twice. One of the concerns you have with echinacea, if you just go in and cut it down to the ground, pick all the leaves, flower stalks off, you probably just killed that plant. So what we're doing when we trim these is just taking those long flower spikes off and just maintaining that center of the plant. So like Caitlin said, when you get to this time of the year, those first leaves that came out are buried down in that plant. So you're going to have some, they're not going to look great, but like looking at the top, they look good. So just keep that in mind with the plant. If your customers ask what to do with them once they're bloomed out, all you want to trim on an echinacea is that flower stalk. Take it down almost to the ground, but leave about an inch or so there and it'll be fine. But if you cut all the leaves off with it, and we've done this before, so I can attest to the fact you'll kill a good percentage.
And generally, once you cut it, maybe not so much now, but they're gonna put up so many more buds within a few weeks. Trimming plants it's weird because you trim it and then you get 2 to 3 more growth points out of that trim. So trimming plants is a good thing.
And Jeff T, what do you have for us?
So first up is some 3-gallon hibiscus trees. These are the white chiffon and the lavender chiffon. I know we've been talking about hibiscus for probably about a month now, but these are still in full bloom and looking really good as you're driving past the houses. And next up is the Sequoia with Streboides, one of the Dawn Redwoods. These are a 25-gallon. These are phenomenal looking plants. So usually these things grow so fast and then the bottoms start to kind of die off from not getting any sunlight. But I would like to get these things out of here before that happens because the whole thing just looks absolutely phenomenal. And what, these probably 10 foot tall right now?
Oh, yeah.
So definitely over spec. And next is the Robinia Twisty Baby. I had Jordan go take pictures of things that she liked just because I see these things every day. But she really pointed out these, loves the shape and form of them. So these are more of a contorted tree. They do zigzag and then they are more of a weeper. So they do get a little bit different focal point out there in the gardens. And these are a 15-gallon. And I got a picture request for the Parkland pillars, but still wanted to talk about these with the entire group. These look phenomenal. We did not have any issues like we did with the 7s earlier on in spring. So these things are full all the way down to the bottom. I know it says low branch, but there is not much of a space difference between the soil and where the branching comes out. Now, you can row run these things, they're absolutely perfect.